Tailor really been firing around Perth. So the day before, I picked out some lures for my trip the following day. So I grabbed out some stick baits to start. The SSM zip baits 120 for that surface action. Then I had a CRD Sprat 90, which is really good for those longer casts to the backbreakers. Then I had the Monsoon Breaker 115. I took off the two trebles and put a single on as well. It was a bit weedy. Fish Ink Flanker, another decent lure as well. Then I had the GT Ice Cream Skinny Needle Nose, which is a great plug to use. Then the Cuda Casting 40 gram and another 50 gram lure, just if I wanted that, change things up and cast as far as I could. I also packed the CID 175 Slim. Love this lure, but it was a bit weedy to use at this time. I had a couple of jigs I was going to use, didn't end up using them though. A couple of lure clips, just so I could change lure quickly. And I grabbed some 30 and 20 pound leader. I ended up going with 30 because the conditions were a little bit more weedy than expected. I also untangled and picked out a couple of these Savage Gear missiles, which I still have. It's my little lure bag. I'll chuck in my leader. Got a head torch there as well because I was getting out there pretty early. Some braid scissors. Got some split ring pliers as well. A Leatherman with a little knife on it. And a little tape measure as well. That's pretty much it. I got out there on sunrise. It was pretty nice conditions, except it was high tide, and the day before I looked there and there was a lot of seaweed but it was actually up on the bank, but the high tide had pulled all the little stringweed right back in. Here I'm casting out the needle nose plug, GT Ice Cream Skinny Needle Nose. So here I'll do about 4 revolutions, and then give it a rip. 4 revolutions, then another rip. Once I get closer to the waves, I just straight rip it in. It was pretty cold out there, so I was pretty rugged up. However, I always go in the water a little bit just to give myself a few extra meters of casting distance, and the water temperature was actually probably a little bit higher than it was out. I think it was about 8 or so degrees, and the water temp was a bit higher than that. But here again, cast it out behind the waves, give it a few revolutions in, give it a rip across the surface, just so it looks like some fleeing bait. 4 revolutions, another rip. It's not a huge rip because you don't want to rip the lure right out of the water, you just want it to skim over the surface. So I rinsed and repeated this for probably about 20 casts. Unfortunately nothing on this one today. It is a reliable lure in these types of conditions though. Switched over to the SSM zip baits. See here my retrieve's a lot slower, and I'm holding the rod a little bit higher, so it's more like a 45 degree angle at the beginning, just to let it skim across the surface. Just sort of snakes its way towards me. You do a few little pauses, but you just want to reel it in nice and slow. Ideally over a chunk of reef or in the middle of a gutter. The rod I've got today is the Veritas 2.9. This is a Veritas tournament, which is a newer version. I probably like the older one better, to be honest. It's the old school white one, which I used to have, had a lot more flex in it. I reckon I could get lures to cast a little bit further as well. Having said that, it's not too bad. I had it with a Nasky 5000. The other reason that my cast is a little bit shorter as well is I'm using 20 pound braid, where I think 10 or 15 is fine. Having said that, when it's weedy like this, that 20 pound braid with a really good FG knot that you can tow a car with will, save you from losing a fish. It just allows you to have that stronger drag as well if you need to pull them away from reef, or if there's heaps of seaweed around, you don't want them to swim everywhere and get caught all up. So you sort of have to yank them in a little bit in conditions like this. Although if you do go down to a 10 pound, you'll notice that you'll get a lot further cast. Saw a follow on the lure here. Bang, right off the surface. So walk into the water here. Just want to try and get it away from a big patch of weed which is to my left. Keep pressure on it at all times and trust in that FG knot that I've got. And as the waves are dumping pretty close to shore, I'm waiting for the wave to crash and then I'll reel in. So it's crashed there, reel in, get some ground, and it's getting sucked back in. Give it a moment. Then the next wave comes in and I'll run it up the beach. Beautiful Tailor. Pretty stoked as you can hear. Made some nice fish burgers too. Thanks for watching. For more Tailor and Perth Metro fishing, please subscribe. Feel free to ask any questions in the comment section.